Hello, I'm back for my annual video. However, this year I have promised myself that I will make more videos, and I do have something special in the works. I am making a course that is completely free. It's going to be on YouTube, and it's going to be syllabus based on the HSC unit. So the first one I'm going to tackle is the Mathematics Standard 2 unit, and I'm going to cover every syllabus point for year 12 and make that into a course, and depending on how successful that is, then I'll make the advanced and 3-unit course. I'm not sure if I'm going to touch 4-unit or not, but we'll see what happens. So I'm thinking of putting everything into the one place. It's covering every syllabus points, and you're only learning what you need and nothing more, nothing less. For today, I'll be going through the 2023 Mathematics Standard 2 HSC paper. So let's get started. This paper has 2 sections. First section is 15 multiple choice questions with 15 marks. They say to allow about 25 minutes for this section. And section 2 is with 85 marks, and it'll take you about 2 hours to answer these short answer and long answer questions. Let's go. Question 1. An amount of $2,500 is invested at a simple interest rate of 3% per annum. How much interest rate is earned for the first 2 years? All we need to do is find how much they earn for the first year, and then they earn it again, the same amount, on the second year because it's simple interest. So let's find the first year interest would be 3% of the $2,500, which would be 0.03 times 20. That's $75 for the first year. Double it, which will give you interest for 2 years. That should be B. Let's check the answers. 1B, very good. 2. Number 2. In a normal distribution, what is the approximate percentage of scores with a z-score less than 1? 50, 68, 84, 97.5%. In a normal distribution, ooh, that's terrible. Let's try that again. That's better. In a normal distribution, that is the mean. A z-score of 1 is about here. That's a z-score of 1. Now over here would be 50%, and then this one would be another, between the z-scores of from -1 to 1 is 68%, which means over here it would be 34%. So altogether that's 84%, which should be C. 2C, let's check it. 2C, very good. Number 3. The number of bees leaving a hive was observed and recorded over 14 days at different times of day. Which Pearson's correlation coefficient best describes the observations? If you can imagine a straight line going through those points, the coefficient is positive because you're going uphill from left to right. So it's got to be one of these two, C or D. And is it a 0.2 or a 0.8 correlation? The points are quite close to the line, so I'm going to say it's 0.8. It's quite a strong correlation. If the points were all the way, all the ways like this, then I would say it's a 0.2. But since the points are very close together, I would say it's a 0.8. 3D, let's see. 3D, perfect. 4. A delivery truck was valued at $65,000 when new. The value of the truck depreciates at a rate of 22% per kilometer traveled. What is the value of the truck after it had traveled a total distance of 132,600 kilometers? We need to find what 22 cents per those kilometers are first. Let's go here. Depreciation equals times 132,600. That is 0.22 times 132,600. $29,172. Now, what's the question? What is the value of the truck? The value of the truck would be 65,000 minus 29,172, which is 35,828. 4A. Let's check it. 4A. Perfect. Number 5. 4 petrol pumps are shown, each with the amount of petrol purchased and its cost. Which one represents the best value? Let's check it out. We just need to find how much it is per liter for each of those. I'm just going to do it straight in the calculator. For A, it's going to be $46.70 divided by 24 liters, and that should get us how much it would be per liter, which is $1.94. Let me write this down. First one is $1.94583 per liter. The second one would be $48.50 by 25 liters, $1.94. This is cheaper than A, so far B is winning. Oops. Then C is $52.30 divided by 26 liters. Okay, this is the most expensive one so far, $2.11538. And then the last one, $54.80 divided by 27 liters. That is $2.2962. Therefore, the one that has the best value is B, 5B. Let's check it out. Is it correct? 5B. Yes. 6. An item. Oops, sorry, you couldn't see that. I should scroll up a little bit. There we go. Question 6. An item was purchased for a price of $880, including 10% GST. What is the amount of GST included in the price? It would be $80 because it's 10% GST, so the item must be $800, and then the GST must be $80. So 6C. Let's check it out. Yes, 6C. 7. City A is at latitude 34 degrees south and longitude 151 degrees east. City B is 72 degrees north of City A and 25 degrees west of City A. Where is City B? I need to draw this out. Let's see. Is 34 degrees south. So from the equator, it is 34 degrees south, and that is City A. And then B is 72 degrees north of City A. So City B would be 72 minus 38 degrees north. Okay, south. So it's either C or D. Then it says City A is longitude 151 degrees east. That means from Greenwich, it is 151 degrees east. Oh, wrong direction. I went west. Let's try again. Whoop. 151 degrees east, and that's A over there. City B is 25 degrees west of A, so City B is here somewhere. 151 minus 25. 126 degrees east. Therefore, 7 is C. Let's see if I'm right. 7C. Yes. Good. Question 8. Game involves throwing a die and spinning a spinner. The sum of the two numbers obtained is the score. The table of scores below is partially completed. What is the probability of getting a 7 or more? Alright, let's finish this table off first. So 4 plus 1 is 5. That'll be 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 8, 9, 6, 7, 8, 4, 5, 6, 7. To get a 7 or more, these numbers, how many are there? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. 10 out of how many? 4 times 6, 24, which is 5 out of 12. So I'm saying 8 is, sorry, you can't see. 8 is D. Let's see if it's correct. A, D. Very good. Question 9. The length and width of a rectangle are measured to be 8 centimeters and 5 centimeters respectively to the nearest centimeter. What are the lower and upper bounds of the area of the rectangle? Let's draw this out. So a rectangle with 8 centimeters and 5 centimeters. To the nearest centimeter, that means it could have ranged from 7.5 centimeters all the way to 8.5 centimeters. Same with this one, it ranges from 4.5 to 5.5 centimeters because it was rounded to the nearest centimeter. So the lowest area it could be would be 7.5 times 4.5. Let's see what that is. 7.5 times 4.5 is 33.75. So far D is our winner, and the high bound is 8.5 times 5.5, which is 46.75. And I'm gonna say 9 is D. Let's check it. Yes. Question 10. An amount of $25,000 is invested for 6 years. Interest is earned at a rate of 8% per annum, compounding quarterly. Which expression gives the value of interest investment after 6 years in dollars? It'll be $25,000, $8 per annum, compounding quarterly. We have to quarter this because this is per year. And if we're compounding quarterly, it means it's compounding every 3 months. Divided by 4, which is 2%. So A or B, because it's 1.02. And then for 6 years, quarterly, 6 times 4, 24. Therefore, it is compounded 24 times. Therefore, the expression is going to be 25,000 times 1.02 to the power of 24. 10A. Let's check. 10A. Very good. 11. A bag contains 150 jelly beans. Some of them are red and the rest are blue. The ratio of red to blue jelly beans is 2 to 3. Sophie eats 10 of each. What is the new ratio of red to blue jelly beans? Let's see. 2 to 3 with 150 jelly beans. That means 2 parts to 3 parts. How many is in each part? It'll be 150 divided by 5, which will mean 30. There'll be 30 in each parts. Therefore, in 2 to 3, there were 60 red jelly beans to 90 blue jelly beans. She ate 10 each. Now it's 50 to 80, which is going to be, which is 5 to 8. The new ratio is 5 to 8. 11C. Let's check 11C. Perfect. Question 12. A cylindrical pipe with a radius of 12.5 centimeters is filled with water to a depth of D centimeters as shown. The surface of the water has a width of 20 centimeters. What is the depth of the water in the pipe? Let's see. Here I know that this is 10 centimeters and 10 centimeters. Now I can find that short side through Pythagoras theorem, which would be 12 and 5 squared minus 10 squared. You square root of that. I'm going to call this x. X equals. Find out what that is. Square root of 12.5 squared minus squared. 7.5 centimeters. That's a nice round number. I was not expecting that. Since that is 7.5 centimeters, from the center of the circle all the way to the circumference we know is the radius, which is 12.5 centimeters. Therefore, the depth is going to be 12.5 centimeters minus 7.5 centimeters, which will be 5 centimeters. So 12, I'm saying, is D. What? Oh, sorry, did I say D? I meant B. Yes, B. 12 is 5 centimeters, which is B, and that is correct. Question 13. An item is discounted by 30% and then a further discount of 20% is applied to the reduced price. What is the total percentage discount? Percentage would be, so a price was discounted by 30%, and then that is discounted again by a further 20%. So the price is now at 56% of its price. The total discount would be 1 minus 50.56, which is 0.44. So there's a 44% discount total. I believe that's right. Yeah, because it was the first discount will bring it to 70% of its price. And then whatever that price is, it is then reduced to 80% of that price. So it's now worth 56% of its original price, which means it had a 44% discount. Pretty sure that's how it goes. 13b, let's see. 13b, yes. 14. A network with source A and sink B is shown. The capacities of two paths are labeled. The cut is shown on the diagram to have a capacity of 30. Which of the following statements is correct? The maximum flow is 30. The maximum flow is 35. The maximum flow is 30 or less. Or the maximum flow is 30 or more. Well, it can't be more because that is the maximum. So the maximum flow is 30 or less. Because, and this is 35. If you cut through here, 20 and 15 is 35. It wouldn't matter because only 30 people can flow through here. So no matter, it wouldn't get to 35 people flowing through over there. Therefore, the maximum flow is 30 or less. C. 14C. Let's see. 14C. Yeah. Last question for multiple choice. Question 15. Ashen's mathematics class needs to complete 6 tests, each with 100 marks. After completing the first 5 tests, Ashen calculated that he would need a mark of 90 in the final test in order to have a mean mark of 80 for the 6 tests. What was Ashen's mean mark after completing the first 5 tests? Ooh, this is very loaded. Let's draw this out. He's done 5 tests. And so far, out of 100, he's saying he needs 90 on his 6th test to have an average of 80. Okay. So whatever is, I'm going to call this x. Whatever he got plus 90 divided by 6 is 80. So we solve for x. X plus 90 is, oh my gosh, 480 is equal to 390. This means his total for the 5 scores he had before was 390. Therefore, the mean of the 5 tests would be 390 divided by 5, and that would be 78. A. 15A. Let's check. Always check every question. 15A. That concludes the multiple choice. Let's go to the short answer questions. Question 16. 2 marks. The graph shows Peter's heart rate in beats per minute during the first 60 minutes of a marathon. Question A. What was Peter's heart rate 20 minutes after she started her marathon? 20 minutes after she started is 120 beats per minute. And B. Peter started the marathon at 10 a.m. At what time would her heart rate first reach 140 beats per minute, which is half an hour in? That means it's going to be 10:30 a.m. Let's see. 120 beats per minute, 10:30 a.m. Very good. Question 17. 3 marks. The table shows some of the flight distances rounded to the nearest 10 kilometers between various Australian cities. A. Use the information in the table to complete the network diagram where the edges are labeled with distances. Let's do this. Perth to Darwin is 2650. Where else does Perth go to? To Adelaide is 2120. And then Perth goes to Sydney, 3270. What's next? Let's do Adelaide. Let's start from the left and go to the right. Adelaide to Hobart, 1170. Then Adelaide to Perth is 2120, done already. Brisbane to Darwin. Here is 2850. Then Sydney to Brisbane, 750. Already done. Sydney to Darwin, 3150. Hobart to Adelaide, done. Hobart to Sydney, 1040. Perth has 3 connections. Sydney has 1, 2, 3, 4 connections. Done. And that was worth 2 marks, so make sure you label everything here. B. Masa wants to travel from Hobart to Darwin. She wants to change planes only once. Use the network diagram, calculate how many kilometers she will travel by plane. Only once she'll have to go through Sydney. That's the only way. So Hobart to Sydney. Oops, what is that? Let's try that again. Hobart to Sydney is 1040, and Sydney to Darwin is 3150. Together, that is 4190 kilometers. Don't forget your units. Let's check the answers. Whoop. Okay, let's see. I think that looks pretty good. And then 4190 kilometers. Excellent. Question 18. The histogram shows a summary of scores on a test. Provide 2 features of the histogram that indicates that the data comes from a normal distribution. It's normal because it looks very symmetrical. That's one feature, that it's symmetrical. And the other one is that there's only one hump. What do they call that? A unimodal distribution of scores. So it has one mode, unimodal. There's just one peak. Let's see what they say. 18. The histogram is symmetrical and it's unimodal. Question 19. 4 marks. A network of running tracks connecting point A to H is as shown. The number on each edge represents the time in minutes that a typical runner should take to run along each track. A. Which path should a typical runner take to run from point A to D in the shortest time? A to D. It's just a matter of finding which one is the shortest. This is 15 if you go through A, F, G, D. Can we find shorter? Yes. A, B, F, G, D would be shorter because that's 4 minutes instead of doing the 5. Now, can you do shorter? That's longer. That would be longer. 6, 7. That's longer. So the shortest time would be this way, which is A, B, F, G, D. B. A spanning tree of the network above is shown. Is it a minimum spanning tree? Give a reason for your answer. Is this the minimum spanning tree? Let's have a look. 4, 1, that is the shortest, yes. 5, 5 to D, that would be the shortest. Is it the shortest? Yes, that would be the shortest. That is the shortest to get there. This is a problem. This is not the shortest way to get to C. The shortest way would be the 10, going from D to C. I'm pretty sure that's the problem there. For this is not a minimum spanning tree because getting to C is not the shortest time. Let's see what they say. Answer path A, B, F, G, D. Yes, that looks good. And then B. It is not a minimum spanning tree as BC is not the shortest path to join C to the tree. That's right, it should be, would it be D to C? Because that would be the shortest path with 9 minutes instead of 11. Moving on. Question 20, 3 marks. On another planet, a ball is launched vertically into the air from the ground. The height of above the ground in h meters can be modeled using a function of h equals minus 6t squared plus 24t, where t is measured in seconds. The graph of the function is shown. A. Based on the graph, what is the maximum height the ball reached? That is 24 meters. Here. There. B. Based on the graph, at what 2 times is the ball at 3/4 of its maximum height? Well, what is the 3/4 of its max height? Divided by 4 times 3, 6 times 3, 18 meters. When is it there? Over and over here at 1 second and at 3 seconds. how would you say this? Therefore, the ball is at 3/4 of its, sorry, I keep forgetting you can't see. Therefore, the ball is at 3/4 of its max height at 1 second and 3 seconds. Let's go to the answers. Maximum height is 24 meters, yes. And then the ball reached 18 meters at 1 second and 3 seconds. Very good. Question 21, 5 marks. Electricity provider A charges 25 cents per kilowatt hour for electricity, plus a fixed monthly charge of $40. A. Complete the table showing provider A's monthly charges for different levels of electricity usage. When you use no electricity, you still have to pay $40. How much do you have to pay if you use 400 kilowatt hours? Well, each kilowatt hour you have to pay 25 cents. Therefore, 25 cents times 400, which would be $100, I believe. The usage cost would be $100. However, you still have to pay $40 for the monthly charge. Therefore, you have to pay $140 here. Provider B charges 35 cents per kilowatt hours with no fixed monthly charge. The graph shows how provider B charges vary with the amount of electricity used in a month. Ooh, where is the question? Oh, it's all over here. A, on the grid. Oh, we already did A. Fill in the table. And then C. Wait, what's question A? Oh, what's B then? On the grid. Oh, graph. I see. Now we need to graph provider A onto this. It would look like this. It starts at 40, and when it's at 400, it is 140 there, and when 1,000 is 290. 290, 300, 310. So it's here. And then you just draw a straight line through those points. And that is provider A. This graph is going to move as soon as I move this. That's okay. Use the two graphs to determine the number of kilowatt hours per month for which they charge the same amount. And that will be, it crosses, see if I can get the same point again. It crosses at 400 kilowatt hours. I tried to get it back as much as I could, but it's pretty easy to see that at 400 kilowatt hours, they charge the same amount, which is at $140. So to answer the question, that would be 400 kilowatt hours. And then D, a customer, I should write that down. D, they charge the same amount at 400 kilowatt hours. Now D, customer uses an average of 800 kilowatt hours per month. Which provider would be cheaper, and by how much? Well, provider A is going to be cheaper because at 800 kilowatt hours, provider A is going to be cheaper, right? And by how much? Well, at 800, I'm going to assume it's supposed to go through $240. Provider A is going to charge $240. Provider B is going to charge $280. Therefore, A is cheaper by $40. You should write a sentence in your paper. I'm just being lazy, but you should say provider A because it'll be cheaper by $40. Something like that. Let's check what they say in the answers. $140. Here's the graph, and they charge the same amount at 400 kilowatt hours. Yep. Provider B is 280, provider A is 240. Therefore, provider A would be cheaper by $40. Very good. Question 22, 3 marks. The braking distance of a car in meters is directly proportional to the square of its speed in kilometers per hour and can be represented by this equation. Braking distance equals k times speed square, where k is the constant of variation. The braking distance for a car traveling at 50 kilometers per hour is 20 meters. Find the value of k. Braking distance is 20 equals k times 50 squared. Therefore, K is going to be 20 divided by 50 squared. 20 divided by, gotta be careful how I write this, 50 squared. And that is 8 times 10 to the minus 3 is 0.008. We found K, that's worth 2 marks. B, what is the braking distance when the speed is at 90 kilometers per hour? The braking distance is going to be 0.008 times 90 squared. I could just do answer times 90 squared. 64.8 meters. That's a lot more than before. Again, don't forget your units. Did we answer the question? I believe we did. Let's check the answers. 22A, 0.008. 22B, 64.8 meters. 23, 2 marks. 100 tickets are sold in a raffle which offers 2 prizes. Hazel buys 5 of the tickets. A ticket is drawn at random for the first prize. A second ticket is drawn from the remaining tickets for the other prize. What is the probability that Hazel wins both? Probability that she will win the first prize is going to be, how many did she buy? 5. 5 out of 100, which is 1 out of 20. The probability that she'll win the second is going to be 4 out of 99. Therefore, the probability of getting the first and the second is going to be pretty small probability, which means we multiply these fractions, which is, what is that? 1 over 20 times 4 over 99. 1 out of 495 chance. Let's check it. There we go. 5 out of 100 times 4 out of 99. 1 out of 495. Question 24 with 5 marks. The diagram shows the cross-section of a wall across a creek. Use 2 applications of the trapezoidal rule to estimate the area of the cross-section of the wall. 2 applications, eh? Let's find the area of this one, and then we'll find the area of that one. First area is going to be the height. The height is going to be 4 meters, because each one of those is the height. 4 over 2 outside of 1.9 plus 2.7 plus 2.7. What's that? That'll be 2 outside of 1.9 plus 2.7. 9.2 meters squared. They're all meters. I forgot to check. Yes, everything is in meters. Very good. Area 2, and we do it again. Half of the height plus 2.7 times 2.7 plus 1.7. 2.7 plus 1.7. 8.8 square meters. The total area, A1 plus A2, is going to equal 9.2 plus 8.8, which is 18 square meters. Then B. The wall has a uniform thickness of 0.8 meters. The weight of 1 cubic meter of concrete is 3.52 tons. How many tons of concrete are in the wall? Give your answer to 2 significant figures with 3 marks. I see what they're saying. They're saying that this wall has a thickness of 0.8 meters. There you go, 8. So imagine this wall has a, that's not very good drawing, but just picture that it has a thickness and it's 0.8 meters thick. Let's find the volume of this wall first. So this is for A. Now we're on to B. The volume of the wall is going to be 18 square meters times 0.8, which is 18 times 0.8, 14.4 cubic meters. And concrete is 3.52 tons per cubic meter. Therefore, the weight of the concrete is going to be 14.4 times 3.52 tons. Oops. It's going to be 3.688 tons. However, they want it to 2 significant figures, which is going to be 51 tons to two significant figures. Let's check the answers. A, 18 square meters. B, 14.4 cubic, 51 tons. Excellent. Question 25. 5 marks again. A table of future value interest factors for an annuity of $1 is shown. A. Mickey wants to save $450,000 over the next 10 years. If the interest rate is 6% per annum, compounding annually, how much should Mickey contribute each year? Give your answer to the nearest dollar. With 2 marks. Let's see. 6%, how long? 10 years? And then this is the figure we're working with. What this number means is for every dollar that Mickey puts in every year, it's going to become $13.18 in 10 years' time. If we want the total to be $450,000, how much should he put in? So how much does he need to put in when multiplied by 13.181? It's going to become 450,000. The amount will be 450,000 divided by 13.181. 450 divided by 13.181. He needs to put in $34,140.05 every year if he wants to get that 450,000 in 10 years at 6% interest annually, compounded annually. What do they want? To the nearest dollar. Therefore, he needs to put in $34,140 to the nearest dollar. B. Instead, Mickey decides to contribute $8,535 every 3 months for 10 years to the annually paying 6% per annum compounding quarterly. How much will Mickey have at the end of the 10 years? With 3 marks. Okay, I'm gonna change color because this is gonna get confusing. For 10 years, that is compounding quarterly means it's gonna be 40 period. And the interest is now going to be 1.5%. That's what we're looking with, and this is what we're looking at. How much is he gonna get? So B, $8,535 times 54.268. 535 times 54.268. He is going to have $463,177.38. Why did I put a dot there? There you go. Now what do they want? Did not say to the nearest dollar, so I am going to keep it with the 38 cents. Let's check the answers. 25A, 34,140. Good. And B, 63177.38. Excellent. Oh yeah, I didn't show the working for that. Oops. Question 26, 5 marks again. Kim is building a path around the garden at the back of the house as shown. The path is 1/2 meter wide. Find the area of the path. Okay. I'm gonna start with area of the whole garden. Area of, I'm just gonna call it A1. And I'm gonna do the entire area, which is 8 by 3, 24 square meters. Then I'm gonna do the area of the garden, which is going to be 2.5 times 7. That is 17.5 square meters. Therefore, the area of the path is 24 minus 17.5, 6.5 square meters. Question B. Kim is mixing some concrete for the path. The concrete mix is made up of crushed rock, sand, and cement in the ratio of 4:2:1 by weight. Kim needs 2.1 tons of concrete mix in the ratio. Calculate how many 15 kilogram bags of cement Kim needs to buy, worth 3 marks. Start with the ratio 4:2:1. That is rock, sand, and cement. Kim needs 2.1 tons, which is 2,100 kilograms of concrete mix in the ratio. How many parts are this? 7 parts. That means each part is 300 kilograms. Like that. Cement is going to be 300 kilograms. Therefore, the bags that are needed would be 300 divided by 15. 20. Therefore, needs to buy 20 bags of cement. Let's check. Area of the path is 6.5 square meters. Yes, and yep, Kim needs 20 bags. Question 27, 4 marks. The diagram shows the location of 3 places X, Y, and Z. Y is on a bearing of 120 degrees and 15 kilometers from X. C is 40 kilometers from X and lies due west of Y. P lies on the joining line C to Y and is due south of. Find the distance from X to P. Alright. Since P is due south, north to south would be 180 degrees. Therefore, this would be 60 degrees. How do we write that? Your working out should read something like angle YXP is going to equal 180 degrees minus 120 degrees because supplementary angles. And that is 60 degrees. Then from here, what are we looking for? XP. From here we can find XP through trigonometry. From the angle of 60 degrees, we have the hypotenuse because this is a right angle. We have a hypotenuse and this is the adjacent side. Adjacent over hypotenuse is cos. So we can say cos 60 degrees is equal to adjacent XP over hypotenuse. Therefore, XP is going to be 15 cos 60 degrees. Let's find out what that is on our calculator. 15 cos 60. Make sure calculator is in degrees. You can see that little d over there. That means you're in degrees. It is 7.5 kilometers. That was worth 2 marks. And then B. What is the bearing of C from X to the nearest degree? We are trying to find, I'm going to change color again. We are going to find the angle from there to there. No, 12 and 60, so that's 180. So all we really need is that angle here. And that angle we can find because we have this side is 7.5 kilometers. We've got an adjacent and a hypotenuse to this triangle as well. And then we can find that angle over there. So B, we have cos angle PXC is equal to adjacent over hypotenuse. Angle PXC is going to be the inverse of cos 7.5 over 40. Shift cos of 7.5 on 40 and turn that into an angle with this one. Going to be 79 degrees 11 minutes 35.08 seconds. To the nearest degree, because this is less than 30 minutes, it is still 79 degrees. However, we have not answered the question. The question is, what is the bearing of C from X? The bearing is 79 degrees plus 180 degrees. That is 259 degrees. Let's check the answers. 27A, XP is 7.5 kilometers. And 7B is 259 degrees to the nearest degree. Question 28, 3 marks. A plumber leases equipment which is valued at $60,000. The salvage value of the equipment at any time can be calculated using either two methods of depreciation shown in the table, straight line method or declining balance method. Under which method of depreciation would the salvage value of the equipment be lower at the end of 3 years? Justify your answer with appropriate mathematical calculations. what they want to know is which method would mean the value of the equipment be less after 3 years. Let us see. Let's start with the straight line method. Straight line method, it is 60,000 minus 3,500 minus 3,500 minus 3,500. Because it's 3 years, I'm just gonna say times 3 minus that times 3. End up being $49,500 with the declining balance. If I can spell, it is going to be $60,000 times 88%, because it's declining by 12%, so there's only 88% of the 60,000 left, and then times 0.88 times 0.88, which means it's cubed to the power of 3, and that ends up being $40,888.32. Therefore, between the two, the declining balance method would make it worth less by the end of 3 years. Let's see what they say. Go. Therefore, the declining balance method would provide a lower salvage value. Question 29, 4 marks. The table shows monthly repayments for each $1,000 borrowed. A couple borrows $520,000 to buy a house at 8% per annum over 25 years. How much does the couple pay in total for this loan? What are we looking at here? 8% per annum over 25 years, this one here. Right, this is a monthly repayment table. How much do they pay in total? They borrow, okay, hang on. Monthly repayments for each. Okay, if they borrow, they have to pay $7.72 every month for 25 years to pay it off. They're borrowing $520,000, which is 520 times of the $1,000. That means they have to pay 520 times of this $7.72. And how many times do they pay it? They pay it every month for 25 years. They pay it for 25 years and 12 times every one of those years. This is the total. That comes to $1,204,320. Wow, that's more than doubled what they borrowed. And then B, Chris borrows some money at 7% per annum. Repay the loan over 15 years, paying $3,596 per month. How much did he borrow? 1 mark. Let's get rid of this. He borrows at 7% per annum, 15 years. That's what we want. $3,596 per month. We just need to find how many times $8.99 goes into this, and then we'll find out how many times of that $1,000 he borrowed. B, let's start with multiple of $1,000. 3,596 divided by 899. 400 times. It's round numbers, this paper. I like it. That means he borrowed 400 times 1,000, which is $400,000. Let's check our answers. 29A, 1,204,320. Yes, and borrowed 400,000. Question 30, 3 marks. A receipt from a supermarket shows a total of $124.87. The GST shown on the receipt is $3.86. GST is 10%. It's only charged on some items. What was the value of items which did not have GST charged? Right. GST is $3.86. Therefore, the GST items were $38.60 because it's 10% of that is the GST. The total GST stuff, I'm just gonna say total of GST plus the G items is $38.60 plus $3.86. That is $42.46. Therefore, the non-GST items is $124.87 minus $42.46. That comes to $82.41. Now let's see if we managed to answer the question. What's the value of the items that did not have GST charged? Not much. Yeah. Let's check the answers. Yep. Perfect. Question 31 with 4 marks. A function center employs staff so that all necessary tasks can be completed between the end of one function and the beginning of the next function. The network diagram shows the time taken in hours for the task that needs to be completed. A. Find the 2 critical paths. The critical paths are the paths that take the longest. Let's see if we can find them. Let's see. 8, 10, that's 14 going that way. 4, 6, that's identical. 4, 6, 14 again. 4, 6, 10, 14 again. Where are they? 2, that's 14 as well. 2, 9, 17. Okay, that's the longest so far. That is 17. Where's the other one? Oh, it would go that way. 2, 9, 13, 17. And that way as well. That's also 17. All the rest are 14. So the 2 critical paths are I shouldn't write it on here. Therefore, the 2 critical paths are H, I, G, C, and H, I, K. That's A. Now B. Get rid of this. Function center wants to decrease the length of each critical path by 3 hours. They can do this by hiring more staff to do one of the tasks, so it takes less time to complete. Which tasks should the center hire staff for, and how long should that task take to ensure all tasks will be completed in 14 hours? Let me read that again. For which task should the center hire more staff, and how long should that task take to ensure all tasks can be completed by 14 hours? I should have left drawings on here. Well, they both, if we have to only change one task, it can't be G, C, or K. It has to be H or I, because H and I are common for the 2 critical paths. And the 2 critical are 17 hours. We need to reduce it by 3 hours to make it finish in 14 hours. H only takes 2 hours. Go away. It doesn't make sense. We can't reduce it by 3 hours. So the only one we can reduce is I. Therefore, they should hire more staff for I, the task I, and reduce it from 7 hours to 4 hours. And if they can do that, that means the critical paths are now going to finish at 14 hours, just like the rest. Let's see what the answers say. 31A, oh, that's in the way. Here we go. Critical paths are H, I, G, C, and H, I, K. And then it says decrease one task by 3 hours. H and I are common. H is only 2 hours, so task I should take 4 hours. See? Let's go to question 32. 4 marks. Ali has a credit card which has no interest-free period. Interest is charged at 13.5% per annum, compounding daily on the amount owing. During the month, Ali made only one purchase of $450 using the credit card. The full amount owing was repaid 21 days later. A. Calculate the amount of interest charged on the purchase. Assume that the interest is charged for the 21 days. The amount of interest charged would be $450 times 0.135 over 365, so it's daily, and that interest applied 21 times, so the power of 21. It comes to $453.51. Oh, this is not the interest, sorry. This will be how much Ali would owe. The amount of interest would be 453.51 minus 450, which comes to $3.51. That's the interest. And B, what percentage of the full amount repaid is the interest? Give the answer to 2 decimal places. B, the percentage of the full amount repaid is the interest. It'll be $3.51 over $453.51. It comes to 0.77%, which is 3.51 over 453.351. What is that? That 0.0077396 ... and that to 2 decimal places. Let's check the answers. Interest charged is $3.51 and the percentage is 0.77%. Very good. Question 33 with 4 marks. The diagram shows a shape APQBCD. The shape consists of a rectangle ABCD with an arc PQ on the side of AB with side lengths of 3.6 meters and 8 meters. The arc PQ is an arc of a circle with center O and a radius of 2.1 meters. Angle POQ is 110 degrees. What is the perimeter of the shape? Give your answer to the 1 decimal place. What do we need here? We need to know the length of the arc. The length of the arc would be, I'm going to say PQ is going to equal 110 out of 360 of the circumference, which is 2 pi r. 2 times pi times r. Let's work that out. 110 out of 360 of 2 pi. I will keep it as this. 7760 pi meters. Then the perimeter is going to be, wait a minute. We need to find, this is the arc, PQ arc. Now we need to find what PQ is. This length here, PQ. So we know how much this length and that length will be. To find that, we need the cosine rule, because we know 2.1 meters. And then triangle, we can say PQ squared is going to equal 2.1 squared A squared plus B squared plus C squared minus 2B minus 2BC cos A. Gonna make sure that the angle, this angle here, is opposite this side that is here. Then let's find out what that is. 2.1 squared plus 2.1 squared minus 2 times 2.1 times 2.1 times cos 110. Then I'm to square root this 3.440438 ... And now we can find these two lengths, which will be 8 minus this one. I'm going to say AP plus QB is going to equal 8 minus 3.440438 ... It'll be 8 minus answer 4.559561 . Now we can find the perimeter. Perimeter is going to be 3.6 times 2 plus 8 plus 4.559561 ... plus 77 on 60 pi. So I got one of those. Still got that value here. I can plus 8 plus 3.6 times 2, and then I'm gonna plus 77 pi on 60, 23.79127 dot dot dot, and they want it to place, which is 23.8 meters. Again, I didn't check whether everything's in meters, but everything is in meters. They weren't trying to trick us. Very good. Let's check the answers. 23.8 meters. Excellent. Question 34. This is a big one. A university uses gas to heat its building. Over a period of 10 weekdays during winter, the gas used each day was measured in megawatts, and the average outside temperature each day was recorded in degrees Celsius. Use X as the average daily outside temperature and Y as the total daily gas usage. The equation of the least squares regression line was found. The equation of the regression line predicts that when the temperature is 0 degrees, the daily gas usage is 236 megawatts. Where's that? 2, 3, 6 here. 10 temperatures were that. The total gas usage for the 10 days is that. In any bivariate dataset, the least squares regression line passes through the point mean of X and mean of Y. Using the information provided, plot mean X and mean Y and the y-intercept. Oh, we've got the y-intercept already, and the least squares regression line. Okay, now we just need to find what is mean temperature, the average temperature, and the average daily gas usage. I'm gonna start with, let's start with X. X is going to be 0 plus 0 plus 0 plus 2 plus 5 plus 7 plus 8 plus 9 plus 9 plus 10 all over 10. Right? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. Yes. What's that? That turns out to be 5 degrees. And then Y is going to be 1840 divided by 10, which is 184 megawatts. Therefore, the point is 5 and 184 over here. Then you just draw a straight line from there, like that. And we've done that one. That one's worth 3 points. I should probably write the point down like that. Then B, what is the equation of the regression line? Y equals mx plus b. B, we already know, is 236. The m is going to be the gradient of the line, which I know is going to be a negative just by looking at the line. But to work it out, it is rise over run. Rise being y2 minus y1 over run x2 minus x1. Make this x1 y1. Our second point would be the y-intercept, which would be running out of space, 0, 236. This will be our x2, y2. Then we just follow the formula. y2, 236 minus y1, 184 over x2 minus x1. And that gives us negative 10.4. Therefore, the equation of our line is going to be right here. Y equals negative 10.4 x plus 236. I hope you can see that. I don't like the negative being first, so I'm just going to switch that around to become 236 minus 10.4 x. And that should be the equation of our line. And then there's one more question, C. In the context of the dataset, identify one problem with using the regression line to predict gas usage when the average outside temperature is 23 degrees. After 8 degrees, it doesn't work anymore. It's using negative gas, which doesn't make sense. So anything after 8 degrees, we can't really use this line for. So at 23 degrees outside temperature, this graph just wouldn't work for us. It's going to show negative daily gas usage, which is nonsense. But let's see what they say. Okay, the mean of x is 5, yes. Of y is 184, yes. 5 and 184. The slope is negative 10.4, yes. Gas usage, y is equal to 236 minus 10.4x. Good. And then it says here, when the temperature is 23 degrees Celsius, the regression equation provides a negative answer, which is not physically possible. Yeah. Excellent. Question 35 with 3 marks. The diagram shows triangle ABC. Calculate the area of the triangle to the nearest square meter. Nice and straightforward question. I like it. The area of this triangle will have to use trig, which is half AB sine C. Half AB sine C. Which we can't do yet because we need 2 sides and we only have 1 so far. And we can use the sine rule to find BC first. So I'm just gonna let that hang for a minute to find BC. Say BC over sine 60 degrees is equal to 12 over sine 25 degrees. BC is going to be 12 sine 60 degrees over sine 25 degrees. 12 sine 60 over sine 25. Oh, what's wrong? Okay. We have 24.5902 dot dot dot. Now we can find the area of the triangle. It's going to be half times 12 times 24 point... Oh, we still can't. But we're getting close. Dot, 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 times. Now C is this angle here, because it's not because that is C, it's just coincidental that is C. But from our formula, it has to be sine of the angle that is not angle from the sides that we have used. And we have used 12, of which the angle corresponding to that is 25 degrees. And then we're using this side, BC, and the angle corresponding to that is 60 degrees. So the only angle that we can use for C has to be this angle from the side that we didn't use. It's just coincidental that it's also labeled C. And we need to find that one. So angle ACB is 180 degrees minus 60 degrees minus 25 degrees because angle sum of triangle. And that gives us minus 60 minus 25. That is 95 degrees. We can put that up here. Now we can find the area. Half times... Oh, I lost that number. That's okay. Times 12 times 24.5902 times sine degrees. We have an area of 146 point, what does it want? To the nearest square meter. 79 dot dot dot, which is 147 square meters. Let's check our answer. Let's see here, 147 square meters. Yes. Question 36, 4 marks. The following formula can be used to calculate an estimate for blood alcohol content, BAC, for males. Cameron weighs 75 kilos. His BAC was 0 when he began drinking alcohol at 9 p.m. After consuming 3 standard drinks, his BAC was 0.02. Using the formula, estimate what time Cameron began drinking alcohol to the nearest minute. What do we know here? His mass is 75 kilos. Number of drinks consumed, 3. His BAC is 0.02. We should be able to find how many hours he's been drinking. 0.02 equals 10 times 3 minus 7.5h over 6.8 times 75. So that would become 30 minus 7.5h over 6.8 times 75. 510. And then we times that to the other side times 0.02. 10.2. I'm going to add 7.5 to both sides. 7.5h, I should say. Then minus 10.2 on both sides. Oh, what's that gonna be? 19.8. And then divide by 7.5 on both sides. Let me just check I did that right. 30 minus 10.2. 19.8, yep. Divided by 7.5. Cameron has been drinking for 2 hours, 38 minutes and 24 seconds. When did he start? This was taken at 9 p.m. So he started drinking at 9 minus 2 hours, 38 minutes and 24 seconds. So he started drinking at approximately 6:21:36 p.m. Is it p.m.? Yes, p.m. And I want it to the nearest minute, which is 6:22 p.m. Let's see if that is correct. 36. Again, drinking at 6:22 p.m. Here we go. Yes. Correct. Question 37, 3 marks. Second last question, I believe. Alright, we're up to the second last question. The table, question 37, 3 marks. The table shows personal income tax rates for different taxable incomes for a particular country. Ours. A person with a taxable income of $90,000 pay 25.8% of that income in tax, excluding any levies. What is the value of X in the table? Let's find what 25.8% of 9,000 is first. What do they say in taxable income? So total tax. Total tax is 25.8% of 90,000. 0.258 times 90,000. This person pays $23,220 of tax. Would have been to find X, we have to get rid of that 18,292 first. How do we write this? Less previous tax bracket. It would be 23,220 minus 18,292. Minus 18,292. That is $4,928. That number is the result of getting however many cents for each dollar over $78,800 from the income. We need to know how many dollars over 78,800 there is. Amount over 78,800, or was it say over 78,800? Be 90,000 minus 78,800 is $11,200. That is being taxed at X cents for each dollar. When it is charged that many cents for each of these dollars, it comes to 4,928 cents. So X times 11,200 is going to equal 4,928. Therefore, X is going to be 4,928 divided by 11,200. 44 cents. What is the value of X? X is going to be 44. Let's check. X is 44 cents. I'm glad that one was correct. That was a long one. And we have arrived on the last question. Question 38 with 4 marks. A random variable is normally distributed with a mean of 0 and a standard deviation of 1. The table gives the probability that this random variable lies below z for some positive values of z. Alright. Probability values given in the table are represented in the shaded area in the following diagram. The weights of adult male koalas form a normal distribution with a mean of 10.4 kilograms and a standard deviation of 1.15 kilograms. In a group of 400 adult male koalas, how many would be expected to weigh more than 11.93 kilograms? I need to know what the z-score for 11.93 kilograms. Z-score is the weight minus the mean over the standard deviation. Therefore, that's going to be 11.93 minus 10.4 over 1.15. When you do that, that gives 1.3304 ... Then we look at the table and we see that this is the closest one that we have, the probability. That is the probability of the koalas that will weigh 11.93 kilograms or less. There's a 91% chance that male koalas are going to weigh 11.93 kilograms or less. But the question is asking how many would be expected to weigh more than 11.93 kilograms. So probability of weighing more than 11.93 kilograms would be 1 minus 0.9082. And that is 1 minus 0.9082. That is 0.0918. So from 400 adult male koalas, there's a 0.0918 chance they're gonna weigh over 11.93 kilograms. How many of those koalas do we expect to find out of the 400? Number of koalas over 11.93 kilograms would equal 0.0918 times 400. We're expecting to see 36.72 koalas, but we wouldn't put the 0.72 because we don't want to see 0.72 a koala. We want to see whole koalas. And I'm gonna say 36 because it's not quite reaching 37. So we're expecting to see 36 koalas over 11.93 kilograms. Let's see what they say. Yes, 36. Oh, you can say 37 as well, but I would say 36 koalas. We did it. We did the whole paper. Thank you for sticking with me until the end. I hope you do well in your HSC. Good luck. Not that you need it because you're watching my videos. And I'll see you in the next video. Bye!